Hello, fellow Vinyl Visionaries, and welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about cam adjustments in the F and G series players. This is a very common issue with these old light switch players, and mainly it's due to infamiliarity. Is that even a word? It is now. With the system. Typically what happens is they'll take a disc and put it in the slot, and without taking the caddy back out, the light switch gets pushed down, or it would get pushed back up to play with the caddy still in there, and it will. So they would put it into load, put the caddy in, and then not take the caddy out, push it up to play, and all of the cams would get misaligned on the shaft that they're on, which we'll get into later. So that gives it this result or symptom where the player never shuts off and it never does anything. So we got the manual here, right here. So we're going to take a look through the service data, and we're going to go step by step, and I'll tell you all the tools you need and all the things you got to unscrew, and we'll get the camera repositioned and we'll get started. Alright, so here we are in the manual on the mechanical adjustment side. I'm going to start with S2 AC switch cam adjust, and then we're just going to work our way down because there's 4 cams in total. It says that the Allen head screw is a .050. I have a .050 here. It's this very last one, and it doesn't fit very well in there, probably because these are from the horrible freight. But it's a 2-pack, and it comes with a metric set, and the 1.27 in the metric set fits a little bit tighter. So if you find yourself at the horrible freight here, this is the Allen wrench you're going to need, and then you're going to want a basic quarter drive nut driver, because every other screw on here is 1/4 inch hex. So let's get all the screws out. There's also Phillips head screws on here too, but we'll get to that in a second. So I've already, for the sake of this video, gone ahead and taken all of the screws out. Of course, I've also unplugged it. So you got 2 Phillips head screws in the back, and I believe there's 8 of these around the perimeter underneath. To get the lid off, you're going to probably have to fidget it around a little bit. It doesn't come straight off. You got to tip the back up first, kind of spread it, and then pull it towards you. Now you can see we've got 2 cams right here, and you've got 2 cams along this shaft in the back, which is covered by the caddy door right now. So just kind of move in a little bit here. So there's 4 screws that hold down this features panel here, which has all of the fast forward, rewind, play buttons, and the side indicator lights and the time display. So again, for the sake of this video, I've already removed these screws. You've got 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Take the board and flip it to the side. One note I will make is that these wires are all old school, like fabric covered wires, so try not to disturb those because they're pretty fragile by today. See, this player was made October of 1981, so I mean it's not new. So we'll just flip that off to the side there. Now you're gonna want to take this piece off right here. Set that off to the side. This pops up, and then you're going to slide it out through there. It's hard to do one-handed. There we go. Now for this, I'm not going to take the turntable out, but you may find yourself in that position where you have to. But here you can see the other two cams are right here, and they're right along this shaft here, which, oops, where are we here? Which is run by this. So you can see it flips the turntable up. The switch actually does a lot of things. So we're gonna start with the AC play and the AC power switch, which are S4 and S2, which are this little switches in here. So probably gonna actually get the camera refocused on this. Okay, so here we have the S2 and S4 cams. This little thing right here, which I believe is part of the I don't even know. I forgot. It's one of those weird parts that you never know what it does until it breaks. But you gotta kind of hold it out of the way to make room. So I just pop a screwdriver somewhere in the side like this. Oh, it's not gonna focus. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, so here we got these two cams. Now it says step 1, place function switch lever in off position. Okay, it's in off. Loosen Allen head set screw, which is a .050 inch in S2 cam, and position cam so that switch S2 is just turned off, and tighten the set screw. So the S2 cam is the cam on the right here, and it says place, what does it say? Position cam so that switch S2 is just turned off. So listen for the click. It's a spring-loaded switch, so that's why there's set screws. You hear the click? So it's just so that the switch is off. So we'll index it with our finger. Okay, there's the click. Now this is going to be tedious and fiddly with the turntable in. I've already pre-loosened these screws for this video. Even though this player actually did come with the cams misaligned, I redid them a couple years ago now, but now I'm just getting around to making this video, so better late than never. Alright, so okay, we're lined up. Get our fiddly little Allen wrench in there. Now, if you can get a good heave on these, don't, because you could probably strip these out fairly easily. I actually tighten this with the long end of the Allen wrench, although you'll probably need the short end to break it loose. Okay. But don't reef on these, because if you strip it, then the player's pretty much toast at that point, unless you can find a replacement function cam. That's it. So, okay, we're gonna move on because that's pretty tight. I can't move it with my finger. Step 3, place function switch lever in play position and check that switch S2 is on. I can't tell because of the clicking of the light switch itself, but I think that's pretty much in there. Okay, now we're going to do the Oh dear. Look at that. This cam switch actually cracked because I over tightened it. Wow. That stinks. Well, anyway, I guess we'll just carry on with the video. For some reason, the directions tell you to do the S2 switch, and then they jump you to the S3 and the other switch, the landing latch switch, which is S9. So it wants you to go from this adjustment over to these two cams right here. So it says place function switch lever in play position, which it is. Loosen Allen head set screw on S3 cam, which is the one on the right. Position cam so that switch S3 is on, and tighten set screw. So you listen for the click. And then tighten it. Now be careful when you're tightening these, because I already cracked one cam. I don't know if it's going to stay, but just for the purposes of this video, we'll keep going. This player is like it was a mess when I got it. It had the power cord cut off. It's an SFT100, but it has an SGT shell on it, and I don't know why. But okay, so that's tight. I can't move it. Hopefully I didn't crack that one. Ugh, I don't know why. I got allergies going on right now, so excuse my sniffling. Let's see. Place function switch lever in load position. Switch S3 should be off. Yeah, let's load. Place function switch lever and play in off position. Switch S3 should be on. So basically they want you to go from the S2 cam, which is the cam on the right under the turntable. Then they want you to go to the S3 cam, which is the switch on the right of the landing latch switch, which is this one. Then they want you to go to the S4 play cam adjustment, which is the same procedure as set forth for the S3 DC play switch. So we're going to do the same thing for the S4 switch that we did for the S3 switch, and that is position cam so that the switch is on in the play position. So we're at off now, kick it down to play, and then this cam on the left here needs to be on in this position. So we'll move it till we hear the switch click. This is a bit fiddly. Okay. Off. On. Off. On. So now that it's in the on, we'll see if we can't tighten this Allen head screw very carefully. You can just see the crack in the other cam just barely right here. That's a no good. Okay, I'm gonna call that tight. My Torcometer 2000 Fingertron. Okay, so now the lifter latch switch, which is the switch on the left right here. We're still in the play position, so I think that's going to change here in a minute when I stop moving the camera so much. Sorry. One man show. Alright, so it says place function lever in load position. Loosen Allen head set screw on S9 actuating cam and position cam to the point just prior to switch activation. Okay, so we're going to make it just so the switch doesn't click. Okay, it clicked. Okay. Just prior to switch actuation. So we'll tighten that without moving the camera. Oh my goodness. And put my hand right in the way. Just tighten that. Look at that. How's that for getting the shot? Okay. Tighten that up. Let's see. And then check operation. Switch L9 lifter latch switch must turn off just prior to S3 play switch activation turn on. When function lever is moved from load to play position. Oh, I read that weird. Whatever. Conversely, S3 DC play switch must turn off just prior to S9 lifter latch switch turn on. When function lever is moved from play to load position. Alright, well, we got her plugged back in and there's nothing on the display, so that's a good start. We're in the off position here, so we got load, but that's obviously play, so it's not going to say anything but load because there's no disk. Drop it down into load. See if we can get a caddy in here. Put it up. Okay, it's still in load. So something happened. So let's see where we went wrong. Alright, we're learning here. So there's an AC power switch, an AC play switch, a DC play switch, and a landing latch switch. The switch on the right here is the DC play switch, and the DC play switch in the load position should be off, but in play the switch should be on, and the switch, you can hear, is off. So that's off, that's play. I just missed it. So we're just gonna loosen this real quick. And then keeping the Allen head in the cam, you can use it to your tuning advantage. Click. And then I just went a little bit further, just I guess to make sure that it stays. Alright, so let's put the board back on top and flip a disc in there and see if it works again. Plug it back in. Oops. Ha, fooled you. Actually, I fooled me too. Alright, so it's off. Put it in gently. Okay. Put it into play. There we go. There's those dashes. Now, obviously, once the stylus hits, we'll get a time display. I don't care, as long as the thing says 0. And there you go, there's your cam adjustment. Now there is also one note that I'd like to make, so let me get the base off of this machine and I will show you another thing that could potentially be an issue for you if you come across one of these players that's had their cams forcibly misaligned. Alright, so we're about to get this bottom base plate off, and I was prompted to make a explanation to my viewers about the proper screwdriver. You might not be able to tell, but on the opposites, sorry for the camera bouncing, on the opposite ends of the plus you can see these little lines that make their own tiny little thin plus. That indicates that these are posi drive screws and are not standard Phillips screws. So if you use a regular standard slot screwdriver, you will strip these out, or you'll come pretty close to it. So you need a posi drive screwdriver, and that's what this is. See how it's got two pluses into it? This is very important for maintaining the life of the screws on your player. So get one of those cheap Phillips whatever bit sets from the Harbor Freight and utilize these posi drive screws because they're actually really easy to round out. Okay, we got our base plate off here, which is right off to the side. Nice little schematic in there for you, I guess. Okay, so here you can see you've got the, I guess for lack of a better term, wedge that, get the light adjusted here. So when you move the load play switch, which I'm not going to do because I don't even like that this player is upside down right now, but this rod gets actuated and this actually slides back and forth, and the spindle of the turntable rides on the, which would technically be the top side of this. So you can see when the lever gets pulled this way, because there's a ramp on the end, that's what drops the turntable down because it slides on there. Now if these function cams are forced out of place, what can happen is this, hang on, okay, the light's gonna stay, this gets pushed down, or up in this case, and this piece breaks off. And actually when I got this player I heard something jingling around in the bottom, and it was actually this piece, it's all one cast, I don't know if it's plastic or if it's glass reinforced something or other, I don't know, but the this was just broken off. Actually I think it's like a fiberglass composite or something, but I had to glue this back on. I'm pretty sure this is that player I had to do it to. Yeah, I think it was broken, like there was a crack along the top and a crack along the side here, and it was just floating around in the bottom of the player. So this just was flapping in the breeze. So if you get one of these players and you go through the process of repairing the cams and something is still messed up, you're gonna have to take the bottom of the player off and give that a looky-loo, because that's definitely a weak point of these players. Alright, so before I part with you here, I just want to give you an actual view of the manual so you could pause it, and instead of having to deal with all my babbling, you can just read the directions for yourself here. That's where it starts. Feel free to pause this wherever you need it. See how it kind of goes out of order, but it makes sense in the long run. Now that I've gone through it all, it makes sense. So once we get to the bottom of this page here, it goes back to the top. A lot of mumbo jumbo, kind of confusing. That's what I got. That's why it got a little messed up, because some of these are like, in the here it should be on and there it should be off, and I got, whoops, sorry, I got a little messed up. So it's about all the shaky camera work I can crank out for one day. So with that being said, thanks for watching and keep your players running.